Hello YouTube, so today I want to talk about bullying and the phrase, it gets better. Now I found that those people who primarily use this phrase are those who have experienced bullying and are now no longer experiencing it, or those who have never experienced bullying and just think that's the phrase you say to people who are going through bullying or who are going through a tough time. That's what you say. Now a brilliant dissemination of this phrase has already been done by Kevin, and I'll leave his video below. But today I want to mainly talk about bullying and whether this phrase should be used today or is relevant anymore in today's society. Now I myself was bullied from around when I started school to years 9 or 10 of high school. I went to 5 different primary schools because of my learning difficulties and they didn't have good learning facilities, but also primarily because of bullying before I went to my last school, which was my high school, where bullying kind of stopped when I was in year 9 and 10. Now I guess you could say that it did get better. My environment constantly changed, but there were still those people there. And I think I changed more than my environment did. I mean, now what I think of as teasing, like people just having a good time or just making jokes at my expense, and I just take it as a joke or I take it as teasing. I think when I was younger or going through primary school, I would have seen that as bullying. Even some of the comments or hate I receive on my YouTube videos, I now just brush off as trolls or haters and it doesn't affect me, whereas I think if I was still the same age when I was getting bullied, I would have interpreted those comments as being bullied. So I think in that respect that I have kind of gotten better at adapting to the environment. I feel I'm more secure in myself and have more self-esteem, and that the environment didn't really get better, but I got better dealing with bullies. And I think that this phrase of it gets better isn't relevant today in today's society. It may have been relevant 20 or 30 years ago where people went to different environments. They may have lost touch with those people in school or those people who bullied them. They went to different work environments, or they became self-employed, or they moved overseas. They were able to move away and their environment changed. And yes, it did get better. But in today's society, with the internet and with Twitter and Facebook, where hate can easily be expressed online, the environment doesn't really change. Because so much of our lives are online, it's so easy for people to hide behind anonymous usernames or fake accounts and just cyberbully people, hurt people through hate. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, it's a really, really bad thing, but the environment isn't changing anymore. We can't escape the internet when it permeates all aspects of our lives. And I think in that regard, it doesn't get better. The environment, doesn't get better anymore. So now let's look at the other side, the other your internal thoughts, your ideas. And this is kind of what Tom, Sky and Kevin were kind of talking about, that the you gets better. You get better at dealing with hate, you get better at dealing with different ideas. You brush it off more easily, you have a harder skin. And I think in some respects this is correct. You do get better. But I think this only applies to the majority of the population. The majority of the population learns how to deal with hate and learns how to deal with bullying and has a strong self-esteem and are able to brush it off easily. But how about those people who developed depression from bullying, or who have anxiety, or who have other mental disorders or illnesses? We don't really get better in the same stages that other people may be. Something that a normal person may view as, oh, that's just a bit of teasing, or that's obviously a troll, or that's a hater, or that's just the way the internet is, and brushes it off, may severely affect someone who has depression or anxiety. Because of what they have, they're more likely to internalize it and think about it and get it into their mind that it's something wrong with themselves. And so the phrase, it gets better, as applied to yourself or your own internal thoughts, doesn't really apply to our group of people. How could it? You have your ups and your downs and different things changes through the day, and it may seem that sometimes you are getting better, but then you may have a bad day. So what do? The phrase, it gets better, or don't worry, you'll be fine in time, or you'll look back on this and laugh, aren't phrases that help us. What I've found that has helped me the most is somebody that I admire or look up to, or who's a good friend, that I think that they're doing okay, that they seem fine, they seem to be enjoying life, they seem to have gotten over everything. When they sit down next to me and say, I know how you feel, I went through the same thing, I thought the same thoughts, and I may be exactly where you are now, and I'm here to listen. And all they did was just listen to me. They let me talk, they were an open ear and open heart, and they provided advice based on the same things I was going through. It may not have been a lot of advice, or it may have been little to none, but it helped more than somebody saying, it gets better in time. And I think that we should no longer use this phrase in today's day and age where the environment doesn't change, and where, although the majority of people may be able to deal with their thoughts and come to terms with bullying or just be able to brush it off, the minority can't. as easily. And so I think we should get rid of these phrases of "it gets better," "you'll be fine in time," "you'll look back on this and laugh," and just stick with "are you okay? I'm here to listen. I'm here to help. What do you need?" And sometimes all that person may need to do is just talk it out. Not necessarily look for an answer or look for advice, just be able to talk it out. And so yeah, it doesn't get better. You get better. But for some of us, we need other people to help us get better. And if you need help to get better, there's nothing wrong in that. And there's nothing wrong in reaching out to people to ask for help. I've left some links to sites below that may be able to help with bullying and depression and anxiety and other mental issues that may develop because of bullying. I'm sorry this has kind of been a depressing video, but I feel it needed to be said. Have an awesome week. You'll see me next week, and don't forget to be awesome.